Hey, how's it going, guys? MrBossFTW here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, we're going to be talking about some buyer beware for the latest vehicle to be added into Grand Theft Auto Online, the Ocelot XA-21 supercar. We're going to be talking about some quirks, some cool features, some secret details, and some things you just need to know and be aware about before purchasing this vehicle, and it's expensive. Now, on the topic of it being expensive, I'm doing a shark card giveaway that is going on right now on my Twitter account. I'm handing out $3.5 million to one lucky person for the XA-21 supercar, or you can take that money and spend it on whatever you want. If you win and it's yours, you can do whatever you like with it, but we're going to be giving away at a minimum $3.5 million so that you can fund this car, upgrade it, do all that sort of stuff. Link to that is in the description. All you have to do is retweet and follow me, so I'll leave a link to that down there. But anyways, let's jump into this video and let's get it started. And with every vehicle in online, for the most part, we have our barrier to entry. Now, some of these barriers to entry are much lower than others, and unfortunately with the Ocelot XA-21, it is much higher than most. The price of this vehicle is a mammoth. It is $2,375,000, making it one of the most expensive supercars of all time and one of the most expensive vehicles we have in the game. Now, it just goes up from there because even though it's $2.375 million, that's just to get the vehicle into your garage. Once you end up doing all of the performance mods, it's actually going to be way more. I added it up from the tally on my live stream earlier today, and once you apply just the performance mod, your total comes to $2,608,000, and that doesn't include any of the customization. And this vehicle has amazing customization. Like, it honestly surprises me that it's not a Benny's vehicle. This car has so much customization on it. I mean, whether it's upgrades to the bumper or the roof or the hood or the exhaust, I mean, there's hundreds of different options that you could literally do to this car, and it doesn't even have an option for a spoiler. Just keep that in mind right there, that this vehicle has incredible customization for a supercar. So that's one of the positives, in which we'll touch on at the end. So let's move on to some color quirks of this car. So this car is really cool as it has three colors: primary, secondary, and trim. So the primary color actually does a couple things you may not have known about. It obviously changes parts of the exterior of the car, but it also, if you apply the stock wheels, changes the center hub cap. So if you have a purple primary color, the hubcap on your wheel is going to turn purple, which I think is kind of unique. Also, on the inside of the car, the paddle shifters on the vehicle, located right behind the steering wheel on the steering column, they will also reflect the primary color too. You'd think this would be the trim color, but that's not the case. The trim color only has an impact on the inside of the vehicle, so that changes the seat color, the stitching, the dash, parts of the steering wheel and the dials and everything like that. So that is actually really cool. And the secondary color is kind of quirky too. It actually changes, obviously, some features of the car if you apply those various customization mods, but it also changes the door handle too, which I thought was kind of unique. That's probably the most interesting thing that the secondary color actually ends up changing, but I thought that was pretty awesome, and those are some cool quirks regarding the colors. On the subject of wheels, something I completely forgot about when I was recording this video is you can change the color of the stock rims. Now, it's not completely, it's the color like that's kind of tucked away on the inside of the rim, so it's almost more of like an accent color, which is actually quite nice. So I totally forgot to mention that. If you guys use the iFruit app, you can change the color of the stock rims on this car, which will actually give you some cool color combinations, because you could have like a different primary color and then a crazy accent on the rims, which actually might look quite nice. But it's another pretty cool bonus feature that you get with the Ocelot XA-21. Moving on to something else that's kind of quirky, if we take a look at the engine block, again, this goes back to the amazing customization this vehicle has. You can change the engine block out for a bunch of different things. Now, the game will tell you that you will get a traction bonus by applying one of the upgraded engine blocks. As you can see, as we flip through them, you can see the very tiny extended blue bar. That is not true. That's actually a mistake on Rockstar's end. So even though you can choose between different race engine options, it's not the case. This vehicle has a retractable spoiler, so it functions just like the T20. So no matter which one you do, it's not going to give you a traction bonus. And as a kind of added addition to that, whether you choose the race-tuned V8 or the primary case custom V12, it doesn't matter. Your vehicle is going to perform the exact same no matter what engine block you have. So selecting it will not give you a performance upgrade, and it will also not give you a traction upgrade either via like whatever spoiler option they think that is. So another thing I thought that was pretty cool about this vehicle is the engine cover itself. It's massive. As you can see, when you lift it up, it's basically half of the car that gets taken off, and you can see like the beautiful carbon fiber on the inside as well as the engine block, which is obviously pretty important, and some tubes and wiring running from it. So as far as car show goes, this is like an amazing feature for this vehicle. Now, one thing I don't think is all that amazing is kind of the license plate. I can hear you guys right now. What do you mean, Mr. Boss, when the license plate is weird? Well, it seems to be stretched a little bit. The Ardent and this vehicle have like that exact same problem. And I don't know if Rockstar did that on purpose or if that was like the design of the car, but the license plate just looks like stretched a little bit too much long ways. So again, if you guys have noticed that too, maybe be sure to let me know. I'm curious if you think the exact same thing. Let's move outside the MOC. One thing I really love about the Ocelot XA-21 is the headlights. So number one, the headlights are pretty unique as there's like a vertical headlight in between the two kind of circle ones. But also, as I've mentioned in previous videos, it drives me nuts when Rockstar have extra lighting on cars, but then when you turn on the extra lighting, they don't actually turn on. Well, that's not the case with the XA-21. When you turn on the bright lights, the extra set of headlights towards the wheel of the car actually do illuminate, which is really cool. So I love that feature, and it looks great at nighttime too, because not only is it super bright, but you also get that extra headlight, which looks really cool on the car. Now, something very interesting about this vehicle that you may not know about, but you also should be pretty careful about, is you can break the spoiler. So I was messing around trying to remove like the hood and the trunk like that, and it does give the car a pretty interesting and unique look. And if you beat up this car enough, the spoiler will actually break. And if you do that, you will lose your traction bonus. So that's definitely something to keep in mind with this vehicle. Now, I'm sure you won't have that issue in races, but in free mode, if you're a little bit rough with this vehicle, you can actually end up breaking the spoiler, where if you drive and accelerate, it'll no longer retract out of the back of the car. So do keep that in mind. And like I said, when you do, that'll end up actually costing you your traction bonus. And of course, no one wants that. Okay, moving on to the interior of the car. One thing I love is the brand new custom interior. So this interior of the car is not used in any other vehicle, which makes it really unique, really beautiful. However, we've got this steering wheel in the way that blocks a lot of the beautiful detailed gauges and dials on the dash and on the center console. I'm not sure why Rockstar once again continues to do this. It drives me crazy when the steering wheel blocks a lot of our view in first person, and this vehicle, the XA-21, is no exception. It does the exact same thing. As I'm sure you've discovered with this car, the engined sound is by far one of the most unique features of it. It literally sounds like this car is growling at you, and it just sounds so freaking good. It might be like the top 2 or 3 or 4 best sounding vehicles we have in the game, so I absolutely love that about this car. Now, something pretty interesting I found out about this vehicle on my live stream earlier today is what happens if you bring it inside the Mobile Operations Center. So this vehicle can only be upgraded in the LSC. It doesn't go to Benny's. It can't be upgraded in the MOC, but it can be stored in the MOC. And you guys know that it has really cool doors. It has the scissor doors or the suicide doors, which looks awesome. It's a great feature of this car. However, if you put this vehicle inside the personal vehicle storage in the MOC, apparently the doors completely change, as now they open normally. They open out like a normal car. And I'm not sure what causes this, and it was a really, really weird glitch and bug, and then when I took it back out into free mode, the door stayed that way for a little bit, so it looks like there's some funky stuff going on with this vehicle in the MOC. Maybe Rockstar didn't really plan for anyone to bring it inside, but I thought that was pretty interesting. It kind of freaked me out at first, and when I noticed it, I was like, whoa, what the heck? What happened to the doors? Why'd they change? So if you do that, just know that your doors may end up breaking, which is kind of funny. But now let's move on to the performance of this vehicle, because it is a supercar after all, and you guys are probably going to buy this vehicle for racing. You're going to want to use this in races, and you want to see how it's going to go. So I'll leave 2 videos in the description. It's 2 videos that Broughy has actually done where he'll go into more detail than me. But essentially, to give you guys the long story short, the XA-21 is the fastest and best vehicle around his circuit that he actually does his testing on. Now let's kind of deep dive into that a little bit more. So from what I've gathered and what he's said, this vehicle is incredible performance-wise. It has amazing handling, amazing traction. It grips the corners really well. It accelerates so fast. It gets off the line quicker than almost any vehicle we have in the game. However, the one downfall of the XA-21 is its top speed. So where it ranks first amongst Broughy's track, it only falls 15th in terms of top speed compared to other supercars. So the XA-21 is not going to be ideal for races that have a long straightaways or stunt races. So keep that in mind. The XA-21, however, is going to excel in tracks that are maybe city circuits or that have lots of turns or require you to brake and accelerate rapidly. So the XA-21 is absolutely amazing. It's all around incredible. It just has one glaring flaw, and that's its top speed. Now, I imagine Rockstar did that to balance this vehicle out. They couldn't have a vehicle that was just amazing in every single category. So I think what they did with the XA-21 is they really nerfed its top speed. That way, if you do get in a straightaway, you'll start to be passed by other vehicles like the X80 or the Nero Custom or even the more recently released Wagner, which is still very competitive and very close to this car. I believe the Wagner was dropped to 3rd on Broughy's list and the XA-21 was bumped up to 1st. So once again, that's kind of the performance metrics of this vehicle. Long story short, it's great for most circuit races, not going to be all that great for stunt races and long straightaways. So let me give you guys my final review on this car, the XA-21. Do I think this is an amazing vehicle? Absolutely. It has a ton of amazing cool quirks and features, and I love the sound of the car itself. I think it's amazingly unique. We don't have a ton of Ocelot vehicles in the game, and we certainly don't have a handful of Ocelot supercars, so it's a pretty rare vehicle in and of itself. The performance is absolutely incredible. Acceleration, handling, braking, traction is all top notch. There are two glaring flaws with this vehicle. Number one is the top speed. Not all that great. A ton of supercars are faster than it in terms of a straight line. And number two, the price. $2.3 million just to get your foot in the door, and then an extra $400,000 to $500,000 to fully soup it up. You're looking at almost a $3 million car here when it's all said and done. And is it worth it to buy a $3 million car when there are almost just as good of alternatives in something like the Tempesta or the Nero Custom or the Wagner that are exceedingly cheaper and you can get for a whole lot less? Even someone like Broughy has recommended the Nero Custom over this car. So that is the biggest glaring downfall of the XA-21 is its price. You get amazing performance, but is it worth it? And that's where it's going to be subjective. If you're a multi-millionaire and can sling around $3 million like it's nothing, then yeah, spending the money on this car was probably a no-brainer, and it's going to be a huge boost to your supercar inventory. However, if you're tight on cash and are considering buying this vehicle because it's the only way to stay competitive, well, that's not necessarily true. Is the XA-21 going to be amazing? Yeah. But you can use other supercars too, and you should be just fine. So anyways, I'm going to leave the discussion up to you guys in the comment section down below. Do you think the XA-21 is worth it? Let me know down there. Friendly reminder, I've got that shark card giveaway going on my Twitter account right now, so stay tuned for that, and I'm going to be selecting the winner in a couple days. If you did go and enjoy this video, though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. Without the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.